So here I have my modify panel drawing file open, and I'm going to, once again, work on this middle column, and you guys are going to do the right column. Okay, so this is the modify panel right up here, and we're going to go through many of these commands. So the first one here is the move command. So I just want to move the object from the top left side to the bottom right side of this grid. So I'm going to select my object and I'm going to select move and then specify base point. I could really specify anywhere. It could be the center. It could be over here if you want. And I'm going to grab that circle and I'm going to move it over here. All right. And then now for this one, I want to copy the object and place it in the bottom right side of the grid. So once again over here. So I'm going to copy this. It says select objects and I'm going to press spacebar for enter, specify a base point, and then now I'm going to copy it over to the bottom right side and I'll press escape. Okay, and then the stretch command. So we want to stretch these horizontal lines to reach this pink vertical line. So stretch is S on your keyboard or you can find it up here. And for the stretch, I want to actually select these objects not one by one, but by using my green selection box. So I'm going to use my green selection box and I'm only going to grab these endpoints here because I'm going to start stretching from these lines. If I were to grab all the way over here, it wouldn't really work because you need to have one part stationary and then the other part is the one that's going to be stretching and moving across. So I will go ahead and grab them like so. I'm going to press enter. And then now I can grab one of these endpoints and I can bring it over here like this. See how it's stretching from the other endpoint because I didn't grab the other side. So I will just bring it over to reach the pink vertical line like so. All right, and then now I want to rotate this object 90 degrees counterclockwise. So if I take this, I can use the rotate command, specify a base point. I'll just choose here. And then now I want to go counterclockwise. So that's going to be in this direction here, 90 degrees. There we go. All right, and then mirror the object about the pink line. So I'm going to mirror this white object about here. So I went ahead and selected it. I'm going to go choose my mirror tool and I'm going to, it says specify first point of mirror line. So I'm going to create a line. So here's one of the points, specify second point. And then this is going to be the other second point. Do I want to erase the source object? I'm going to say no. So that way I create this heart shape. All right, and then scale. We want to scale this object so that the height of the block is 0.5. So I'm going to go up here to scale. I'm going to select my object, this, and then press enter. And then the base point, I want the height to be 0.5, so I can select, well, I can select anywhere for the base point, but I'm going to go ahead and select here, so that way it grows in this direction. And then specify scale factor or copy or reference. I'm not given a scale factor, so I'm going to do reference, and I'm going to reference the height. So it could be this one, or this line. So I'm going to say right here. And then now I'm going to specify a new length. So I'm going to say 0.5. There we go. So I went ahead and referenced this line. So it was scaling this line and I gave it a new height of 0.5. All right. And then the next one I'm going to do is the trim command. So I want to trim this line that is sticking out of this pink box. So I'm going to just select trim, and then I'm going to click right there, and it will trim that line. You can also create a cut line if you want. So let's say if you have multiple things you're trying to trim, then a cut line would be pretty useful. All right, and so now I want to apply a fillet of 0.3 to the top right corner and the bottom left corner of the box. So I will choose fillet, and I know what the radius is going to be, so I'm going to select a radius of 0.3, and then I want to do the top right corner and the bottom left corner. So I could do multiple, and I'm going to select these two corners, and then I'm going to select these two corners here, and then enter. And then for chamfer, I want to apply a chamfer to the top right corner of the box with an angle of 45 degrees and a distance of 0.2. So I'm going to go back up here to my modify panel, and I'm going to go to the drop down and select chamfer. So select the first line, or you can select one of these, and I know what the distance is going to be and I know the angle, and if I just specified the lines, then second line, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to deselect out of my command. So I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to specify either the angle or the distance first. So I could go ahead and do the angle and specify chamfer length on the first line. So, or did I specify here? Let me try that again. So here I'll say angle. Okay, so it does want the chamfer length. So I will say 0.2. And then now I'll say the angle. Specify the chamfer angle, so 45. All right, and then now I will go ahead and select the lines. And that gave me a 45-degree chamfer of 0.2. Okay. And then here I want to blend the curve. So I'm just going to select blend curves, and it's going to say specify first object. I'll select one of them, select second object. There we go. So I specified these two endpoints right here. All right, and then here we want to create a rectangular array. So it says create a rectangular array with 3 columns and 2 rows. The distance between the columns is 0.75, and the distance between the rows is negative 0.75. So let me go ahead and grab this, and I'm going to go to this array, and there's a couple options. I'm doing the rectangular, and if I were to drag, so I can go ahead and grab these grips and I could drag it this way, or I can go ahead and specify different things in up here in this panel. So I'm given some parameters here. So it's going to be 3 columns. So I could say 3, and then 2 rows. And then the distance between the columns is 0.75. So I'm going to say 0.75. And then between the rows is negative 0.75. So negative 0.75. There we go. And then I will go ahead and close this. So that created an array. So if I were to keep going, I can create more columns, and they're going to be the same equal distance between them. I'm going to escape, and I could do it this way too. They're going to be negative 0.75 apart, but I could also drag it up if I wanted to. right? And I'll go ahead and escape that. And so here we want to create a path array along the pink spline with 5 aligned items. So I will grab this. I'm going to choose the path array. It says select path curve. I'll select this one. And then now I have, once again, my array creation tab had just automatically opened up. And I'm going to do 5 aligned items. So I'm going to change. So this is aligned already, so that's good. And then I want to change the number of items to 5. There we go. And if these were not aligned, you would see that they kind of stay the same orientation throughout. Then if I align them, then they kind of turn with the curves. Okay, so I will go ahead and close this. All right, and here I want to create a polar array with 5 chairs around this round table. So I'm going to select this chair. I'm going to go to polar array, and I want to specify the base point as the center of this circle because I want them to be copied around the center. And then I'm going to change the item to 5, and I just want them to be equally spaced. There we go. All right, and then here I'm just going to erase the triangle. So that's going to be this one up here. I'm going to select erase and then enter. And then another way you could do that is if you just click it and delete. I'll undo that. And then here, see, I have one object. So this could have been created with the polygon command, or it could have been created with the polyline tool. And so I want to now explode this into simple line segments. So explode is going to be X on your keyboard and then spacebar, or you can also find it up here. So I'm going to select explode. And then now these are all individual line segments. I'll escape this. And then this one, I'm going to use offset. So offset the object a distance of 0.1 to the inside of the object. So offset is right here. So offset is going to create that same shape, just offset from where it is right now. So the distance is 0.1. And if I were to hover on the inside, it's going to create it on the inside. If I were to move my mouse to the outside, it would put it on the outside. So I want it to be to the inside. So I'll select like that. And then if I were to select this again, I could just keep doing that command. But I actually don't need to for this one, so I'm just going to escape. All right, and here I want to join these individual line segments into one object. So I'm going to grab everything. And to join something, it would be J and then spacebar, or you can find it in your modify panel right up here. So I will select join. And then now this is one object. All right, and so break the object between the pink line segments. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to select break. And it says select objects. The object I want to break is this white line. Specify second breakpoint or first point. So I didn't specify, I just clicked anywhere on here, and so that's where it's trying to break from. So I need to specify the first point, and I'm going to specify it right here. Now specify the second breakpoint. It's going to be right here. And so there are multiple ways to do this, right? Because I could have created this gap also by using trim had I wanted to. So I could go here and I could do trim, and I can do it like that. I'm going to undo that. Yeah, so there's many ways to do the same thing in AutoCAD. As you will see, um, you can go ahead and just do whatever you're comfortable with, but I want you to go ahead and try these specific methods in this assignment. But as you get going, just do whatever you feel is easiest. I don't usually use break, I almost always use trim. All right, and so this one, we're going to break it at a point, break the object at the pink line. So I'll go to modify, and then I'm going to select this one, break at point. I'm going to select the object, which is the white rectangle, and then I'm going to specify the breakpoint right here. And so now that just kind of broke this into two objects. All right, and so this says to delete the duplicate objects using overkill. So use the overkill command to rid of the overlapping lines. So if I were to highlight all of these, there is more than one line here. So if I do my blue selection box, it might be easier to see. So there's multiple lines here, and it's unnecessary to have these lines overlapping. So I'm going to highlight everything with my green selection box. And you can type in overkill on your keyboard, or you can go here to the modify panel to this little broom, and you can select this one. So I'm going to just say OK. And it says for overlapping objects or segments deleted, one duplicates deleted. So there's 6 things found, and now there's only one line now, which is good because we want to make sure our drawing is not overly complicated and our files are not too big. Okay, so this is all about the modify panel, and I will leave you guys to do this right column here.